Expect the best used car deals guaranteed. Visit arnoldclark.com.
Welcome to Peter and Roughie's Football Show, sponsored by Arnold Clark. It is March the 19th. I'm Peter Martin, and delighted that you could all join us on this Thursday show. And in the studio with us, I'm delighted to say, we have Alan Rough, Tam Cowan and Hugh MacDonald ready to take on the world and all that it's throwing at us in football. Yeah, lots to talk about on the programme, and the first thing is the statement from Celtic. Day by day we're getting clubs just releasing statements with regards to the coronavirus and of course the predicament we find ourselves in with the Scottish Premiership. And Celtic have basically, through Chief Executive Peter Lawwell, asked for resolution of the Premiership. What they want to do first and foremost is to get the games played. With regard to the present domestic Premier League situation, our strong preference is of course to complete the remaining matches, is exactly the statement coming out from Celtic. To date we have a magnificent campaign, undefeated in this calendar year, completing 30 league matches and a commanding lead. And of course Celtic now on the verge of their 9th consecutive title. But the season cannot be voided, as the consequences of that are so severe. If, in the event that the matches can't be played, the responsibility is to find a fair and reasonable solution for the finalisation of domestic leagues. Now, let's take it at face value, Hugh. Celtic want to play the games, but if they can't get them played, null and void is not something I think that they will accept.
Yeah, and the thing about it is, I think we're rapidly reaching the stage that the season won't be finished by UEFA's cut-off point of June the 30th. So I think it's reasonable to start thinking about post June the 30th. What do we do? Do we play the remaining games at the beginning, or putatively what would be the next season? I think that would be most fans. I mean, I think most fans would want that. Let's get that sorted out of the way. There are difficulties in that. The contract difficulties, there's difficulties over, quite frankly, what clubs will remain by the time we hopefully all come out of the cave in September or October. So at the moment, I think it's a statement, it's a strong statement, but like everything else, it might dissolve with reality as this thing unfolds.
Yeah, and the one thing that they're looking for is a statement from the governing body. If the games can't be played, they want a decision on this, but that decision has to be with who's the champions, who's not.
Yep, and I could be very selfish and looking at everybody's talking about who's going to win the titles, who's going to be relegated. Of course, if you stopped the season right now and gave out the prizes, then Motherwell are in Europe, and I could sit here and bask in that. But as a Motherwell fan, I do think, and if it ends up in Aberdeen via this route, then great. But I do think the league has got to be finished. Whether it's August, September, whether it's into next year, football will resume at some point, and it's got to resume with the remainder of the 2019-2020 season, as far as I'm concerned. What a day raise a wee smile about with this is, for the outset here, Neil Lennon saying, we're so many points clear, the league title must be ours, If none of this would have happened and you'd have asked Neil Lennon, Neil, you're quite a few points clear now, is that the league over? He'd been the first to say, no, we never know. It's still, until it's arithmetically impossible for him to, Yep. So it's amazing how folk are willing to change their tune when there's a sniffy taking away the silverware.
Yeah, but as we mentioned, right across the whole of Europe, right across the world, Roughie, we're no different from anybody else. Everybody is looking for something to be resolved here and a decision to be made. And I think by UEFA pushing the European Championships out of the equation now, they've drawn a line in the sand at 30th of June.
Yeah, well, unfortunately, everybody's not singing the same hymn sheet, because obviously the English chef are saying different dates. We have not even thrown dates out there. I think the good thing about it is everybody wants to see it finished. I think there's anybody wanting a decision now. They want the league finished. I think August seems a decent time to play 8 games in August and then start the league again. All the teams will have their new signings. Everybody will be in contract in August. So let's go for there. Let's just get it done.
Peter, looking at the country as a whole, we keep hearing stuff this week and being reminded that the world indeed hasn't seen anything like this since the Second World War, And I'm sure if you look back times at that was when clubs were maybe playing, before the war and after the war, 2 games a day, bizarre things like this, So I think we just need to look at the bigger picture and try to resolve this. I'd personally like if just UEFA came out with a statement.
That's got to.
If UEFA just bypassed the SFA and everything. As Hugh was mentioning to us in the Facebook live show, it is much, much tighter, the leagues elsewhere in Europe, with a lot at stake there. And take it out of their hands as well, be it the Bundesliga or La Liga, wherever it may be, and just get UEFA to say, you know what, guys, here's the decision. We're making it for you. We're meant to be the bosses. We're not wanting just in every individual association around Europe the Blazers to get it in the neck for now to Kingdom Come. Here's what we're doing. End of story.
Well, I would say this, Hugh. As this virus takes hold, and as communities we're supposed to be coming closer together, Roughie and I are growing further apart each day, because I don't believe that you can suddenly, and I know Tam suggested it as well, I don't believe you can start going beyond the 30th of June and then you start to play different teams to resolve a league from last season. There are too many complexities involved in it, the strengthening, the weakening of teams, whether teams have actually survived, how long this virus affects players within teams and staff. Everybody thinks this is going to be off. We'll get beyond the summer and then life goes back to normal.
What about the fans? Finish it with the fans. You pick 11 fans to represent your team. Once the contracts are up with the players, you pick your best 11 men. It's meant to be a fans game, and you put your best fans 11 in.
I think there's going to be a stronger call to isolate Tam now.
Well, we're all aware that we're talking here about the magnificent triviality that is sport.
Yeah.
And it's great. We'll all have arguments about it. We fall out in that. But at this moment in this pandemic, a word I never thought I would use in my lifetime, but a pandemic, we really just don't know what's going to happen. And, ceilings are things like, for example, it's great to talk about, say, like playing 2 games a week in August, as Roughie's put up, and you say to yourself, well, will there be Champions League there? And see, if there is Champions League, who's going to be in it? The other thing is, you say, well, we'll cancel Champions League for a year. And you say, well, if you cancel Champions League for a year, UEFA go bust. I mean, that's their cash cow. The things, everything is like
Hugh,
so interlinked.
It's not going to go beyond 30th of June.
I don't think so. My
Some
view,
of the players are out of contract on the 30th of May.
My view is, this is just a view, it's not informed by I've made a few phone calls about it, but my view is the 30th of June was a cut-off to say to everybody, them's the rules. And I think once the 30th of June, UEFA could then say that that's the season over, and people go, well, what do you mean that's the season over? Look at your rule book. And if you look at the rule books, every rule book has who's the champions. The team who have accumulated most points over the course of the season are declared champions. And you say, well, if anybody's saying that's the season over, UEFA's just dictated that's a season.
There's another rule. There's another rule that says it can't be handed out until the 38 games are played as well.
Yeah.
So it's whatever rule you want to fall into.
Yeah, but the other thing about it, there must be a caveat to this, which is someone has to make a final decision. And you've got a great catchphrase, about the people who make the decisions. I think it's worthy of hearing it again, Hugh.
Was it the golden rule? Yeah, remember the golden rule. Them that has the gold makes the rules.
Yeah.
And that's what's going to happen. The idea as well is that, see, we're sitting here now and people are saying with any certainty what's going to happen. I can't believe them. And see, the other thing is, I honestly still in this moment think that people haven't grasped
the enormity.
Just what this is going to be.
And I don't think people actually believe that some clubs will go, and that is, that is a realistic prospect as well. Because
Peter, where are we going to be another week? I mean, we sat here last week and we weren't at this level. The week before it, we were laughing and joking and saying this coronavirus thing, is then going to happen? What is going to be the state of play this time next week?
Yeah, and of course, over and above that, if Hearts can announce 50% wage cuts, then you're in big bother. This is what Anne Budge had to say with regards to the Hearts situation. In order to prevent a staff redundancy programme and to protect as many jobs as possible, I'm proposing to implement a club-wide salary reduction programme. We've asked all full-time employees, managers, coaches, players and backroom staff to accept a 50% cut in their monthly salary. No one's full-time salary will fall below the minimum wage. Staff and players who feel unable or unwilling to accept this revision to their contracts will be offered the option of contract termination. If I was not absolutely convinced this is necessary for the future sustainability of the business, I would not be asking our employees to face these cuts now. If someone suddenly says, well, I'm not taking it, termination of their contract, if that was a player, then yet again, suddenly, I think that is a negative spin for Hearts. There's no way they get out of that. And then the second part is it weakens the team that's still trying to avoid relegation.
Absolutely, because if any of the players there have got better offers and think they can get, what they're going elsewhere, they'll just go. That's really draconian. I mean, that's.
But in saying that, Hugh, you're saying draconian. How many of the guys that would normally be expected to fund Hearts, i.e. the fans, how many of them don't have the option? They'd love the option of just getting half their dough now. If you're talking about taxi drivers, cafe owners, barbers, folk at work in pubs, folk at work in restaurants, they're looking at zero. They're looking at getting nothing, So, if you'd have put up that statement 3 weeks ago, I would agree it may have seemed a tad draconian then, but I don't necessarily agree now.
Yeah, to be honest with you though, Hugh, I know we're talking about we all like to be guided by rules, but I think there'll be new rules in place for desperate situations, and it could be as quickly as the summer to try and change the structure of the leagues.
I think so as well. I think this story is going to move at such a pace. It's going to be, and remember as well, it's going in. This isn't just a sports story. It's going in tandem with real severe health issues in the wider world and real severe. It's not like at one time when you would have Scottish football's in crisis. What do you all do in our think tanks and get Henry McLeish? The world's in crisis, and Scottish football's going to be a symptom of it. And there's a lot of stuff that Scottish football can't solve. And I mean, again, going back to that point, I think we'll be sitting here in a week, a time, or 2 weeks' time, or 3 weeks' time, and the story will have changed so much, and we're going to lose clubs through this.
Yeah, and I do think there's the need to expand it now.
Well, I think so as well, and I think there's certainly the need now to come up with really strong leadership and strong plans going forward and try and find a consensus, because I agree, I think the only way out of this is UEFA to come down and say, take out all that, say, this is what we intend to do. You're our stakeholders, abide by that and let's move forward.
And dare I say it, for the first time ever in the history of Scottish football or world football, some people within the game are going to have to put their personal concerns to one side. They're going to have to look at the bigger picture. If they want football still to be a thing when this is over, they're going to have to be a little less selfish.
Yeah, because I think even if this thing stopped tomorrow, and it won't, and everyone was back, what has been sustained or inflicted upon Scottish football already is fatal to certain chunks of Scottish football, and they will not recover from it.
Yeah, okay. Talking about money, lots of clubs will need that money that's coming down. There's obviously payments that will come down through the leagues, the SPFL. The SFA are going to release $1.5 million to help some of the struggling clubs as well. Rod PETRIE released this statement with regards to the money that will be released to all 42 clubs. I'm pleased to announce the immediate cash payments to members of Club Licence and Club Academy Scotland, amounts which were budgeted to be paid later this year. Given the financial uncertainty faced by clubs, we have looked at areas of distribution where we can accelerate and pay now rather than wait to pay on the usual distribution dates. I would like to thank our Chief Executive Ian Maxwell and the Operations Board for their experience in enabling us to bring forward the payments. £1.5 million doesn't sound like a lot.
Is it spread evenly?
No, it's not. It's spread according to your commitment to those.
You have to have an academy, whether you're a gold, silver or a bronze member.
Yeah, and there won't be a lot of. There won't be a lot of. I mean, £1.5 million is not a lot of money. Listen, any pennies are welcome, Roughie. It's not a lot of money.
No, it isn't. But as you were saying there, some clubs will think an awful lot of money is a lot of money. Others won't. You know, if you were to give them 20,000, it'd be, well, that's us keeping the doors open. Whether other people will say, well, it's a drop in the ocean to us.
Yeah. But
it's money at this particular time that a lot of clubs will need.
I wonder how many English Premier League clubs could be in real difficulty if there's no resolution and some harsh decisions have to be made, because the English Premier League, Hugh, MacDonald, are still talking about getting the games played.
Yep. Well, see, their problem is not the same as the problem in Scotland. The problem in Scotland is largely spectators. That's a lot of, it's a high earning of your income is not only spectators, but hospitality. It's match day thing. The English clubs don't really rely on match day income at all. Their real big income, and it's a huge income, is satellite television and other broadcast rights. And going forward, see, that's another thing that will roll on. People are going to cancel the Sky because some people are not going to renew it when it comes back. Sky are going to have less money. I hate to be the harbinger of the doom, the prophet of doom, but if people give up stuff, they don't automatically go back. And if that all suddenly drops down, the level of English football can't be sustained.
Yeah, just out of curiosity, I know it's unusual for you to come in on a Thursday. Have you any good news?
No, not at all.
No, the good news is that he's in here on a Thursday.
I'm actually the astonishing news is I'm still alive.
Yeah, absolutely. And just remember this biblical statement: man cannot live on muesli alone. That's all I'm going to say to you, Hugh, because you need to stock up on your reserves.
Muesli, you'll never get any of that now.
Is that right?
All the cereal's gone. Yeah. The other night, Oxo cubes. I was making a bit of mince, right? Got a wee bit of mince, right? Oxo cubes. Guess how much for a box of Oxo cubes?
No. Crack Kane?
£12.95.
No, wait.
What?
Where are you shopping?
Get it in, yeah.
Don't stop this gag and you've killed Tam.
Go.
Finish the gag.
It's because the stock market's
It was worth it.
He's going to wait.
No, by the way, usually he gets a free run at it.
Murphy's in all the time.
By the way, Tam, that's well worth it, honestly. Just on that point, the EFL have got a £50 million rescue package because, quite simply, if they can't get the English Football League finished, they stand to lose close to £50 million as well, Hugh.
And the other thing as well is we've all been talking about titles and because of the Celtic statement and others over the last few days. But you imagine all these clubs that have invested in the chance of going up to the land of milk and honey of the Premiership. Yeah. Even in Scotland, if you can imagine, if you sent to Dundee United to come out with a really good statement, we want the season finished and all that, blah, blah. I'd be more interested in the Dundee United statement when it comes out that if this is a statement saying you're null and void, because it's all right to say now, no, we just want the games to finish. That's all we're saying at the moment. Because imagine how much money Dundee United have been, the gamble, the roll of the dice.
Both Dundee teams.
Both Dundee teams. And then suddenly say, well, your whatever point's clear, but you're not getting it.
I'd guess as well, Hugh, at this time, in England certainly, every club's lawyer must have gone through the TV contracts. Because you get the feeling that they could say, what, we're not going to, the broadcaster could say, what, we're still not getting any football, we're still not. Pull the plug.
Well, listen, I'm going to say to you, full marks to the likes likes of John Roberts and Inverness, Caledonian Thistle staff, Nairn County as well. So many clubs rallying around their communities. Partick Thistle have got a new crest to highlight the fact they're a family club. Wraith Rovers, so many clubs just getting around the community and saying if you're in your hour of need and you can't get out to the shops or you need an errand run, the staff here, the players will help out and get back into the community to support you the way you've supported us.
Partick Thistle doing a bit for the local community by not playing football.
Yeah.
Yes.
He's not happy
Got
with
a couple of deliveries to make when I leave here.
That's a euphemism. What is it, Partick? What's this name change thing that I've heard about the badge or something?
Well, just trying to get the fans to join in, and a lot of them are phoning and giving us money rather than taking it out. So it's a community club.
Yeah.
So we just want them to be part of it.
Absolutely. And the other thing I was just going to say, just before we go, I'm just going to let you see this little video because hopefully you guys are going to partake in this and record, if you can, to the best of your ability, the toilet roll challenge. Personally, I'll be adopting the Mikkel Lustig toilet roll on a string, Roughie, just to keep it up. That was magnificent.
How do we know why we can't get toilet rolls? We're all kicking them about.
Yeah, to be fair. Patrick Roberts looked as if he could still keep that toilet roll up there. It was good. And Joe Aribo, I think what we'll do is we'll start a fund to try and get furniture in his house. It didn't look as if there was any in it whatsoever. Anyway, listen, stay safe. Obviously, from our point of view, we want to hear your comments on your team, on your predicament, how you think the whole thing should be resolved at PLZ Soccer on Twitter. Facebook Live, we continue. We will bring you the service all the way through the summer on PLZ Soccer. And let's not forget, on PLZ Soccer's YouTube channel, Hugh MacDonald is our special guest on the podcast tomorrow. And why? Because we're going to just sift through the memory banks of all the games, the great players that he's enjoyed. He even names his favourite world football team, talks about one of the finest games, talks about a fantastic Rangers legend as well, and I think you're going to enjoy his trip down memory lane. So you can download the podcast on Spotify, Libsyn, Apple and Deezer, and you can also watch it on PLZ Soccer's YouTube channel as well from tomorrow morning. So from Roughie, from Tam Cowan, from Hugh MacDonald and myself, Peter Martin, stay safe and thank you for watching.
Expect the best used car deals guaranteed. Visit arnoldclark.com.